if anybody has questions, I can quickly answer them before the next speaker.
Thank you so much, Rochelle.
Let me stop. That's okay. Let me stop sharing.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. So next speaker we've got is Michael, and he's actually doing an undergraduate PA course. And I know a couple of you, actually quite a few I should say, are on here who have applied for the undergraduate physician associate course. So Michael, please, you talk.
Hi guys, my name is Mike. I'm a second year PA student. When I said I'm studying, which is a 4-year program, to the postgraduate, which is a 2-year program. So I'm going to be talking about gadgets and equipment in school. That long. I'm going to be talking about medical equipment that I wrote down, so I might just look at my notes. So if you find me looking to my right or to my left, I'm just looking at my notes. If you have any questions, leave them in the chat, and if someone could please monitor the chat for me because I'm unable to see it, and just let me know if there's any questions. And before I start, I want to thank Stefania for giving me like the opportunity to be here and to be able to talk to you guys and share my knowledge. And at the same time, I also want to congratulate Stefania like publicly for like the hard work she's been doing, and also just like the willingness to actually like create stuff like this, like lives and webinars, just to provide information for you guys. When I applied, there was nothing like this. I don't think there was. So I started with a lot of unanswered questions, and I decided to just go with an open mind. But if I'd had the opportunity to have those questions answered, I would have really liked that, and I'm guessing that's what this webinar is for. So yeah, I just want to take that time to congratulate Stefania like publicly, and just keep doing what you're doing, and you're going places. So let's start, and then let's make this quick. So I'll start by talking about medical equipment you need PA school. So when you start your clinical skills, one of the first skills you probably thought is observations, which is basically taking obs, like taking blood pressure, temperature, oxygen sats and stuff like that. And that's basically like almost basic skills, but also one of the most important skills because you need it all the time. You might be working for 20 years, and every time you'd have to take obs. So that's why I'd recommend to get the equipment you need to take obs, which is a stethoscope, which is much needed. You need it to practice, maybe taking a blood pressure or listening to heart sounds and stuff like that. And you also need it in placement. So when you go on placement, it's good to have your stethoscope. So it can just make it look like more perfect. You know what you're doing, you prepare and stuff like that. And it would be like a blood pressure cuff. Just if you can have, it's not that expensive. See if you can get one just so you can practice because it takes time to master taking a blood pressure. Like when I learned it in uni, I thought it was actually good. But then I went on placement and I saw the nurses like doing it in 2 seconds. And I was like, I've still got a lot to learn. So having maybe one at home where you can practice with your friends, families, and it can just help you improve quickly. And then maybe an oximeter, which is basically the little thing like they put your nails on your hands to check your pulse and your oxygen stats. So those are the medical equipment I would recommend you guys to get. Other ones might be like other equipment you need will be provided by the uni. So they might actually be expensive. So I wouldn't recommend getting that, but these ones shouldn't be that expensive and are much needed. So I would recommend these ones. And that should be for medical equipment. Now, in terms of uni equipment, the most important thing you need is something to actually take notes on. I feel like that's the most important thing you need in uni. And you could either go paper or paperless. I know there's like a huge debate on this. Personally, I'm all for paperless, but if you like maybe old and yeah, antique, or you prefer the traditional method, you want to go paper, then you need obviously pens, your colored pens to make your notes nice and color coordinated, just to make it a little bit more looking, so you'll be able to look at it more. And just also highlighters. I would also recommend to get a printer, because me personally, when I'm going to uni, in my uni, which I think most uni would do, there is this, like, if you go paper, if you have a printer, you can download the slides and then get lecture, and then you can annotate it while it's speaking. I'll advise you to get. But to be honest, to go paper, because sometimes there's a lot of while like a lecture might have up to 90 slides, and having to print on 90 pages is not the best. So personally, I would recommend to get like a an electronic equipment, an iPad, a tablet, or a regular tablet, or a laptop. And you want to get this because you need it anyways, because especially this year due to COVID, most lectures are going to be online. I'm guessing like my uni are doing most of the lectures online, to be honest. So obviously you need an equipment to attend those lectures. It could be a laptop or a tablet. At the same time, also, if you're taking notes on your iPad or your tablet, it just saves you more time. Like color pens, your highlighters, and everything. It's all in one place. So you don't have to like go searching for stuff, because you just have it there. It just makes everything much easier. And then at the same time, you won't have to get a printer, because it's easy to just put slides, have them there, and just annotate them. And also, if like me personally, I like to take notes. Like I like to write my notes. With the new technology now, you can still do that. You can still. I've got an iPad, an iPad Pro, and I've got the Apple Pen, and it basically feels like a notebook. Like I could basically do everything that you're doing on your notebook on my iPad. So it's quite good because of that. And then I could also use it to attend online lectures. I could write essays on it. Basically, I could do everything. I've got a laptop, which I used to edit videos for YouTube. But for uni, I mostly use my iPad because it just does everything for you. So I would actually recommend getting that. After, I'm going to talk about apps, some note-taking apps that I use and I found useful. But that would just be like at the end. So yeah, paper versus paperless is up to you. As I said, I would really recommend going paperless. And I said before, you need it anyways, because you have to write essays, and so you actually need like a laptop or a tablet anyways. So some recommendations. The iPad is a good one. They can be expensive if you go for the newer versions, but if you maybe search for the older versions, and if you like a little bit street smart, you can find them for cheaper. And the iPad is a good one. The Samsung Galaxy Tab 6 or 7 is also a good one. In terms of laptop, they actually do laptops nowadays that have a pen as well. Like my laptop is touchscreen and it has a pen. So if you really want like a pen to write on, but you want a laptop, you could actually get like HP's laptop and Lenovo laptops. They use a pen. So yeah, these are just like some recommendations. So now let's just go to the last thing, which I want to talk about, which is just apps which I use, and I've heard about them that's really good. So I'll start with the note-taking apps. So I've just got 4 here. Obviously, there's a lot more note-taking apps, and they all do different things and similar things, but you use the one which you prefer. But the 4 I've got is OneNote, GoodNotes, Notability, and Notion. I used 2, OneNote and Notion. GoodNotes and Notability, I don't actually use them, but I heard they're actually good. Like people love them. The reason I don't use them is because I've got all type of devices. I've got Apple device, Windows, Android. So I've got everything. So I need an app that can sync through all my devices. That's why I use OneNote and Notion. So with OneNote, I have it on my iPad, on my laptop, my iPhone, my Android phone, I have it like OneNote and Notion. So those are the main ones I use. And Good Notes and Ability, you have to pay for them. I can't remember how much they go for. OneNote and Notion for students. So yeah, so if you could try them out, like it's free. You can just download them and try them out. And then if you which is just writing notes. So OneNote supports your okay. Someone asked the four apps. Okay, OneNote is one, Good Notes is the other one, Notability and Notion. Yeah. OneNote is good because it supports the Apple Pen. So you can either type your notes if you want, if you have a keyboard, or you could use the Apple Pen. Notion doesn't support the Apple Pen yet. Now the creators of the app said that's something they're working on, and they said this for a while, so we don't actually know. But as of now, it doesn't support the Apple Pen. So if you're using Notion, you have to type your notes. So that is that. Now the next apps I want to talk about is the medical apps, and then I'll be gone. So the first app is called Essential Skeleton 4. And basically, I got this app. The first lecture of anatomy I had, our lecturer was like, guys, he was like, you have to learn the whole bones in the body. He was like, was it like 2 weeks? We had to learn the whole bones in the body. And I was like, wow. So that was when I got this app called Essential Skeleton. It's basically like a skeleton, like a 3D model of a skeleton, which you can zoom, you can turn it around, and then if you click on any bone, it tells you the name of the bone and just some information about it, and it's free. So it was quite useful trying to study anatomy and the bones and having like a visual representation. Now at UCLan, we had an anatomy lab where we had like models of like models just to see why study anatomy. It was quite good because you're actually like seeing what you're learning, but due to COVID, we don't know if we'll have access to that. So I feel like now more than ever, apps like this are quite useful because anatomy for me, seeing makes it easier, and I feel like that's the same for most people. The next app is similar, but it's quite expensive. It's called Atlas, and it's basically I think it's like £23. It's quite expensive, but it's really good. I didn't use it much last year because our anatomy lab was open, so I was able to go there and see the real models. But this year, since we will have access to that app will actually come in handy. And the difference between this one and the first one I mentioned is that the first one just has the bones. This one has everything when it comes to bone, blood supply. You can dissect stuff. You just basically like if you download the free version and just try it out, it's really, really good. So let's say you need to study like the blood supply, you could actually follow it and see how it goes. And when you touch on an artery, it tells you the name of the artery and stuff. Even like the lymphatic system, it just gives you everything. It's called Atlas, ATLAS, but it's expensive. It's like £23, but I don't recommend it. Like if you don't have the opportunity to have to go see a real model, I recommend the app because it's gonna make anatomy just so much easier, in my opinion. The third app I'd recommend is Anki. I feel like Anki, everyone knows Anki for flashcard. I actually don't use Anki, to be honest. I've tried it, but I'm gonna give it a try again. But I shouldn't use it. But I know a lot of people use Anki, and they say it's quite good. And it is good because the method of Anki is basically like, I read a book which basically tells you the most effective way to study, and they said the way to study is basically to test yourself. Anki is good for that because it's flashcard. It gives a question and then you have to answer the question. And then the way Anki works is that the questions you know less, it gives you those questions more, so you can be able to learn them. So Anki is a good one if you're into flashcards. I think someone asked in the chat the first app. The first app is called Essential Skeleton for the fourth version, and it's free, that one. The fourth app is the BNF app for for pharmacology. So this app basically shows you all medications, and it's good because like you just have it there. You go there. Let's say I don't know paracetamol. You go into the app. You search for the paracetamol, and it gives you information about it. The dose you need is required for adults or children, and it also gives you like interaction because some drugs can interact with each other, and some can have very negative impact when given together. So it gives you all that type of information, and sometimes it also gives you like how to do drug. So let's say this drug is a calcium channel blocker. If you put the name of the drug, it tells you this drug is a calcium channel blocker, and sometimes it explains how it works. So for studying pharmacology, BNF is really good, and it's free, so why not? The last app is called Geeky Medics, and it's basically for OSCE. Now, this is not free. There's a free version which gives you just a little bit, but it's not free. But for OSCE, like being able to examine patients and the right questions to ask and what to do, this app is good for that. So by the time you start uni and you start having your clinical skills and you start having examinations, if you need a guide and the information provided you is not enough, you can just use this app called Geeky Medics. And so these are all the apps I've got. So let me just go through them so you can maybe write them down. The first one is called Essential Skeleton 4. It's basically like to learn the bones. It's free. The second one is called Atlas. This one shows you everything, like it's a 3D model of everything. Bones, blood supply, lymphatic system, everything. The third one is called BNF, and it's the one for pharmacology, for the drugs and information about the drugs. Anki for your flashcards, and Geeky Medics. And basically that's all I've got, guys. And before I leave, I just want to say congratulations for everybody that started today, and good luck. Just something like when I started, I felt like the first weeks, I felt like I was in the wrong place because there were so many people there that were so prepared, and I wasn't. So I just felt like I didn't know nothing. So most of you are gonna feel like that, but just go through the process. It's a process, and I was lucky. I was speaking to someone. They told me, "Don't worry, I felt like that." And it's a process, and at the end of the day, you will learn. Like, there's no point you going to uni if you didn't know what they teach you in uni. So that's just a quick advice, guys. Go in there and just like with an open mind, ready to learn, and you'll be okay. And as I said again, good luck to everyone. And yeah, that's it for me, guys.
Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you. The next guest speaker is Hannah. So if I just unpin Mike and pin Hannah. You're there, Anna?
Yes, hi.
Perfect. Yeah, carry on.
Perfect. So thank you very much, Stefania, for hosting this. I'm a second year PA student at Manchester Uni, and I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about the PA matrix. I may or may not have heard of this, but it's really important to know about, and then kind of go over some clinical skills. My background before this course was absolutely no clinical skills whatsoever. I did my undergraduate degree in immunology, and it was very lab-based. So there was no clinical things there at all. I also had never managed to get any kind of clinical work experience. So coming to a course like this was a big shock to the system. I immediately thought, when we were learning how to do these various skills, what have I done? Oh God. But looking back at it now, I'm 4 months from the end of the course, and thankfully I can tell you that all this has changed. 1 second, sorry. There we go. Okay, so first I'm going to go over the matrix a little bit. So this is the PA matrix, and it's basically goes through all of the different conditions that a PA should be able to know, manage. There are different kind of depths of things you should know. So it goes 1A, 1B, 2A, 2B, and the numbers and the letters denote if you should be able to manage it and if you should be able to diagnose it. So, and so I'm just looking at it on my phone here because it's just easier. So anything, so a 1A, a PA should be able to diagnose and manage. A 2B, they're not expected to diagnose or manage, but can recognise it in practice. And a 1B, they should be able to diagnose it or like have a role in the diagnostic process, but not manage it. So that management of it can be moved up to someone else, a more specialised healthcare provider. And then a 2A condition is not, you're not expected to be able to, well, might not have to diagnose in it, but you might be required to maybe manage it a bit more. So I think it's a bit of a minefield getting your head around it initially, but if you get up, you can just Google PA Matrix and find the document, and there's usually a bit at the beginning in the first few pages explaining how it works. They explain, they have a bit of a graph that can show you, and they give you some examples. So the 1A conditions are the really common things that you would be seeing in your clinical practice quite often. And then 2B are the ones that maybe aren't so common. They're more a specialised thing, but is good to kind of know about. And for me, I've used the matrix in the 1A, the A's and B's and the 1s and 2s system to kind of figure out how much detail I'm going into when I'm revising. I will tend to focus on the 1A, 1B, or just, the 1A, 1B topics, because I know that they'll be expecting us to know more about it. Whereas something that's 2B, I revise it enough to be able to recognize kind of what it is and have an idea of it, but I don't get bogged down in all the management and diagnostic tests, because usually they are quite complex and we might not get taught that. So that's the matrix. It is confusing, but don't worry, it will make sense if you have a read of it a bit more. It is important to kind of have a look at it when you're either like making your notes or revising and stuff. So that's that. And then clinical skills. So this is obviously a massive part of being a PA. I think it's one of the parts I enjoy most about being a PA, is be able to do these procedural skills and kind of actually get some interaction with patients. So what kind of things can PAs do? So we can do the clinical procedures, so like venipunctures, taking bloods, putting in cannulas, doing kind of other types of bloods as well, for other reasons, doing blood sugars, inserting catheters, getting ECG readings, and then we can also do the kind of communication skills, so clerking in a patient if they come into hospital, or taking a history, and then doing some physical examinations as well. So unis, different unis will have different ways of teaching people how to do these, but they should all be covered within your uni teaching. Going back to what was previously said about kind of comparing yourself to everyone else, obviously different uni courses do things in different orders at different times of the years. So it can, if you see other people at different unis saying, oh, I've just done my bloods and stuff, and you guys haven't been taught that yet, don't worry about it. You will be getting to it. So no need to worry. Also, one thing I found from my experience personally is sometimes, especially for us at Manchester, we do blocks of teaching, then blocks of placement kind of intermittently throughout the year. We don't have a clinical year and a teaching year. So sometimes when I went on placement, I hadn't learned the skills specific for that placement. If that happens to you, do not worry about it. It is fine, honestly. So that can be quite stressful, but it will be fine. You will get taught it. I think when you're getting taught them in your uni, as Stefania said, everyone's coming from such different backgrounds that I really think this is a very good opportunity for you to lean on each other and to help each other. You will have, so on my course, for example, we had people who were physiotherapists prior to starting the course. They were very good at helping us learn the MSK examinations. We had people who were nurses or healthcare assistants, so they were good at helping us with kind of how to do blood pressure, how to do your basic obs, and how to take blood and put in kind of like stuff like that. So even if you've never had an experience of it before, other people will have. And if you are really struggling, reach out to your friends. They will become your rock throughout the course. So really take the opportunity like this to ask for help. And then there will be a time as well where you can reciprocate that and give your help and expertise to someone else. So on placement, when it comes to going onto placement, the one thing I can say about getting your clinical skills, getting them a bit better, is honestly just practice, practice, practice. I was so nervous the first time I ever took any bloods off a real patient and not one of the plastic arms that you have in hospital. I was scared I was going to hurt the patient. I was scared. Yeah, I was a bit of a mess, if I'm completely honest. But I did it, and the one thing I told myself throughout the whole thing was, you're not doing this to hurt them, you're doing this, obviously they need these bloods done, they need them to get better. So I kind of told myself that, and I had someone there to help me as well in case it did kind of not go wrong, but in case I was struggling, they could step in and help. And I think that definitely made me feel a little bit more calm. But if you are like me and have no clinical experience whatsoever, and you are quite nervous before you do, even if it's just talking to patients, it can be quite daunting at first. I'd say when you first start your placement, make a point at the beginning to explain and say, look, I don't have any experience, but I do really want to get practicing as soon as I can. If you make that point, it makes it a lot easier throughout the placement, because people will remember that. And I think if you just keep making sure that you're putting yourself forward for doing this, even if you really are nervous or you don't want to, I think say, like, if they give you the opportunity to take bloods, take them up on that opportunity and say, yes, I would like to do that, thank you. And another thing I think is nurses are your friends. In a lot of the wards, they are usually the ones taking the blood, or like phlebotomists as well, but nurses, and doing a lot of these skills. It does help to have them on your side. And if you just keep asking them if that you can, maybe if there is anything that you can do, just kind of nip alongside them. So I'm sure it will get covered when someone goes on to talk about placements in more detail. But yeah, definitely hang out with the nurses, I'd say. So my big thing from this, I think, is it's okay to be nervous. You're going to be nervous 100%. This is a brand new thing you're doing. And if you've never done it before, it is quite scary and daunting, but don't use those nerves as an excuse to not do something. It's a short course in the grand scheme of things, 2 years. So you've really got to kind of put yourself out there, maybe get out of your comfort zone a little bit if you know it's something like this that you need to do, and just obviously make sure that someone's supervising you if you're really unsure. But it'll be fine, trust me. And then one final thing in terms of kind of safety and stuff on placement with these skills, if you haven't been taught how to do either an examination or one of these skills, and someone asks you, so say a doctor asks you to do like, oh, can you go and put in a cannula in this person, but you've never actually done it on a real person, and you don't feel comfortable doing it, you've not even seen one in real life, just be confident and say, look, I don't feel confident doing this. Ask if you can watch them and say that you will do it next time, but don't ever feel like you've been put in a position where you're uncomfortable and you don't think that you're going to be able to kind of finish the procedure like safely. And yeah, you just want to make sure that doesn't happen. Let me see, sorry, there was one question. Do you know if there's an equivalent for matrix? So just got a question if there's a matrix equivalent to procedures and investigations. To my knowledge, there's not, for skills and examinations and stuff. I don't know if anyone else knows if there is, but I've not come across that yet.
So I think Sophia would be giving a bit more information on clinical skill afterwards, so that's fine.
Okay, that's fine. And someone missed the 1A, 1B. Okay, so someone's posted it. That is fine. So I think that's it from me. It was a very whirlwind stop of clinical skills and stuff. But if you have any questions, please pop them in the chat, or feel free to send me a message on Instagram. That's fine too.
Thank you so much, Hannah. By the way, guys, Sophia would have to be leaving because she has another engagement. So I'll let her talk next, and she'll be sharing a bit more highlights as well on what Hannah's just touched on, which is clinical skills via the Matrix Education. So Sophia, if you'd want to roll in and speak, that'll be amazing. Thank you.
Hi everyone. First of all, thank you, Stefania, for organising this. This is really awesome. I definitely didn't have anything like this a few years ago when I was a student, so this is really cool. It's amazing what tech can do nowadays. So yeah, hi everyone, I'm Sophia. I'm a physician associate. I've been working in GP now for the last couple of years. I'm also the founder of Matrix Education. This is the first company set up by PAs in the UK, developing products and resources for physician associates. We run OSCE courses throughout the year, and we also created the first app for PAs, and we also do one-to-one tutoring for OSCE preparation. And recently we just launched a appraisal toolkit. So after you qualify, you have to keep up to date with your competency in some form or another. So we've developed a website for that now for qualified PAs to keep up to date with that. So I'm sorry I don't have like a presentation like other people might have, but I've just kind of come on here to address any queries people might have in terms of nationals, so the exams that you have to sit in order to become a PA, or anything to do with working in GP. So I thought this might be like more of a Q&A type scenario, but just in a nutshell, I'll kind of just give a brief overview, and then any questions if people have, they can ask. My social is at Sophia Hiramatsu on Instagram and Twitter, so you can feel free to message me on there if you can't think of a question now. So how it works with exams as a PA is you have to sit your internal exams, so your university exams, and your external national exams. With university exams, it's very difficult to comment because each university, unfortunately, is set up differently, which I don't think is very good, because I feel it might put some students at an advantage or disadvantage depending on how well they are having their mock OSCEs or mock SBAs in their unis. So you have usually an SBA or a MCQ, which is your theory element of your qualification in your university, usually in the second year. Some universities, they have exams in the first year as well, like maybe a general medicine type SBA with first OSCEs in the first year as well. Your OSCEs in the first year are going to be a lot more simpler based on your main 4 systems, probably, so cardio, resp, GI, neuro. And the ones in the second year are more preparing you for your national exams, which could basically be about anything, so any specialty that you've gone on, or any communication skills or anything that you've basically learnt on your PA studies. So that's your university exams. And then you have the nationals. So you have one big SBA, and that's comprised of, I think, 200 maybe. When I did it anyway, it was 2 papers and they were 100 questions each. And I remember just doing it. I don't think we even got a break. It was just like straight 200 questions. And then you have the OSCEs, which is a practical element. When I did it, the first ones were in, my first attempt was in London. Now I believe they're in Liverpool. I think it'd be interesting to see how they're held up this time because it's virtual OSCEs. So yeah, the OSCEs are basically testing your communication skills, your examination skills, your procedural skills, and the main thing they want to see is if you're safe. You can have amazing communication skills, you can be an amazing, competent PA, but if you do something that they feel is not safe, they'll fail you. So that's their main thing that they want to make sure that they tick box. So that's the nationals. And what else Stefania, what else did you want me to talk about?
Nothing really. You've covered that. If you could just give an insight of how it was for you, or how it is currently working as a PA in primary care for them. Yeah. And I think that's
fine. So I think Florence asked a question. She said, do you feel the PA course prepared you enough for the nationals? My personal experience, I felt a lot more prepared for the SBA than the OSCEs. That was just my experience. But I don't know, someone else might answer differently. I felt my university felt a lot more preparing the students for the MCQ and the SBAs. I wish that we had more OSCE practice and more OSCE sessions. I feel like, because I've been doing tutoring for the last couple of years now, and what tends to happen is most students, they put a lot of emphasis on the MCQs and the SBAs, and what happens is, well, this is what I fell into this trap myself. What happens is you end up not leaving enough time revising for your OSCEs, and then there is a trend. Most people pass their SBAs first time. I've probably only come across 1 or 2 students that haven't passed their national SBA, the theory test, first time. But there is about quite a high retake rate for the OSCEs, about I think at least 40%. It's quite high. People who resit their, I just saw Miriam's face. She was like, oh, wow. So yeah, it's a lot of people have to resit the OSCEs because I feel like people don't put enough emphasis and revise for them enough in comparison to the SBA. So an SBA is single best answer questions test that you have to do. And with an SBA, the difference between an SBA and an MCQ is an SBA can have more than one right answer technically, so it's harder than an MCQ in the sense that you have to choose the best answer. And then the way it's marked is after everyone has, Simi's face is like, Simi's just like, damn. Yeah, so you have to choose the best answer. And so how it works, after everyone has actually sat the exam, they choose the marks after everyone has sat it, and that goes with both the SBA and the OSCE. So with the SBA, they'll look at what is the answer that most people chose, and that would be the correct answer if it's the single best answer. And then with the OSCEs, they decide the pass marks after everyone has sat it. So chances are, if you found one station quite difficult, then most likely so did everyone else, and then the pass mark would lower in that sense. However, you can have the opposite. If you found one station quite easy, like something quite simple and straightforward, like the cardiovascular exam, which is the first thing you learn in most cohort, most courses are on the PA course. If it's something straightforward, and if everyone did well, they would increase the pass rate. So it works both ways. So yeah, my experience wasn't the best. I passed my uni exams. I think I did pretty well at uni actually, but with my nationals, I just had a terrible time. I had no issues with the SBA. Like I said, most people pass that first time, but the OSCE, I didn't know where I was going wrong. I didn't feel prepared. The first time it was like a clear fail, and that's a bit my fault because I didn't revise properly. I felt because I passed my uni exams, I was like, yep, got this on lock now. Nationals will be fine. But got the results, they were a slap in the face. And then I sat them again the second time, and I failed by, I think it was 1 mark on one station. And yeah, I was pretty close to giving up. And then I sat the final time, and that's kind of where, as I was revising for my final go, that's kind of where the ideas for my company, Matrix Education, kind of came about. I just felt like there was, when I was revising, I didn't feel like there was anything for PAs specifically out there, and that's when we decided to start making an app. And then I kind of just said to myself, if I pass these OSCEs, then I want to set up a course and do one-to-one tutoring and just have a space where people can go to for help, and also basically support in their national exams, because I had major issues with them myself, and it definitely impacted my mental health. So, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. It was very difficult to go through, and that's where we set everything up. It was built on passion and experience, really. And now since we started, I think we've hit the over 100 mark now, of PAs that have passed the nationals, that have come to our courses and have passed. We have 1,900 people subscribed to our app at the moment, and we have about just over 150 users of our appraisal toolkit as well, and that's the qualified PAs. So yeah, that's us. I think what I'll do is I'll quickly answer some of these questions. So Ella says, how soon after graduating, passing uni exams, do you take the national exam? Not sure what time of year the national exam is. So there's 3 sits usually. Oh, thanks, Stefania. So there's 3 sits usually. I had my first attempt in, I think it was January 2018. I think it was January 2018. And then I had my second attempt in May 2018. And I had my final attempt in October 2018. So 2018 was a stressful year. So that they usually have 3 intakes. So depending on when your university course finishes, usually your nationals are a couple of months after that. So say if you start in January and you finish in usually around December in 2 years, and then you'll sit the January follow after, basically. So it's usually a few months. SBA is single best answer. Do you guys know anything about the 4-year course in terms of these exams? I have absolutely no idea. I'm so sorry. I only know about postgraduate courses. Usually they have, like I said, OSCEs in the first year, and then OSCEs in the second year, and the SBA usually in the second year. Do you need to retake the SBA again if, for example, we passed the SBA but failed the OSCE? No, but you have to have passed the OSCE. So you'd have to have passed the OSCE within 2 years. So say if you failed the OSCE, so you need to sit the OSCE first of all within 1 year. So you get 3 attempts, and you've got one year basically to sit that, starting from your first attempt, and you have 1 year after that. But if you if this doesn't make sense, but if you haven't sat your OSCE within that year, your SBA expires, so you have to sit the SBA again. So just make sure you get everything done in 1 year. That's all I want to say. Okay, just make sure everything is done within the year. Hi Sophia. James says, in the OSCEs, how much emphasis is placed on pharmacodynamics in your opinion? In the OSCEs, personally, I haven't seen a lot of emphasis on pharmacy related stuff. You will be expected to know how to, like say if a patient is asking you to explain starting a new drug, well, sorry, the OSCEs, you need to explain, you know, patient is diabetic, just been diagnosed with diabetes, and you need to explain to them metformin and how to start it. So yeah, you'll be expected to know the common drugs and how to kind of explain starting them, but it's important that you don't start saying phrases like I can prescribe this in your OSCEs, because then it shows that you don't know a lot about your role in the OSCEs to the examiner, because you shouldn't be prescribing, blah blah blah. But yeah, and in terms of, oh yeah, I forgot, I work in GP. So yeah, I work in GP. It's really good. I wouldn't work anywhere else. I mean, Brian works in secondary care, so he'll be like, no, hospital. But yeah, I work in GP and I've had a really great experience. I have a lot of things going on, so I recommend it to anyone who wants really good lifestyle balance. If you like to do things outside of PA, because I'm not just a PA, you know, I run a couple of other businesses. I just started a YouTube channel. And I like to delve into lots of different things. I don't just, basically, me being a PA is not my identity. I like doing other things. So the reason why I chose GP is because I can, you know, go do other things, and there's just so much you learn every day. Every day you're literally coming across something new. Just when you feel like you've got a handle on GP, even though I've been doing it for the last, well, it's over 2 years now, there will always be a new patient with something random that you've never heard of. So it's amazing, because you're basically a student for life. In medicine, if you work in GP, you're constantly learning, you're constantly developing. You can climb up the ladder slowly in terms of pay scale, because the more variety and more competency you develop, you can get that coin. And also it's just, you develop really good rapport as well with your patients, especially when you get patients that want to see you over some of the GPs. Like, that is fun, actually. That is funny. Like, I have had patients that say, oh, I want to see Sophia, or I want to say, sometimes they say Miss Muggle. It's so cringy, but yeah. So yeah, you'll get patients that really like you. Yes, like with any other department, you're going to get hard patients. Might be a little bit difficult in the beginning, but it's a very rewarding job working in GP. I don't really have any issues with prescribing medication. We have a protocol where if I need to give a medication of some sort, I just kind of add it to the patient's list, and I just send a task to the GP to just send it to the pharmacy. And the GP and pharmacist will look at it before it gets into the patient's hands. So there's like a double review in that sense. So prescription is quite easy. I can order MRIs, I can order ultrasounds, I can order, I want to say CT, but I don't really do that. Most of my life I'm ordering ultrasounds or MRIs. If I need an X-ray, it's really easy. I fill in a form, give it to a GP, they put their GMC number on it, sign it, and they basically just check it's all right. And yeah, it's that's basically me in a nutshell, guys.
Thank you so much, Sophia. Nice having you. I know you're very busy and I appreciate it. And yeah, guys, if you want to follow her on social media, she's got a hashtag on the video. I can see it. So just take a screenshot. Also follow Matrix Education. And yes, next guest speaker is Sandra, who will be talking about resources and book. I am so sorry. I think we're going to be over the time. So if you want to hang and stay, and if you want to take over.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm just gonna share my
pin
screen.
you to the screen. Are you going to share your screen?
Yeah.
Perfect. Cool.
Just tell me if it's working. Is it working? Is it working? Oh, I'll try again. Okay, I know what I did wrong. Is it working now?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. So, hello everyone, my name is Sandra and I am a first year, second year transitioning physician associate student at UCLan University in Preston, up in the north. And so yes, today I'm just going to talk about resources, just books, websites, apps that I use, or like people that in my course or people that are doing PA use normally to get through the course. Yeah, I think the important thing here is try to get stuff that you don't have to spend a lot of money on, because we are poor. In this like 2 years, it's just going to be about saving and saving as much as you can. So yeah, for me personally, it was just about trying to get resources that wouldn't be that much expensive for me, but would be effective at the same time. So let's just start. In terms of books, these are the principal books I use. So starting with the Principles of Anatomy and Physiology, it was so helpful for me, especially when I was revising for exams. One, because I could download it on my iPad, so I could have it. I have it currently on my books app on my iPad. So that's one. So paper free. Let's save the planet. But also you can buy the paper copy. It's quite big, so I'd recommend the ebook form. But it was so useful because it's just divided in systems. So it goes from the cardiovascular to the rest, to the neurology, to the like MSK and all of that. And then it just tackles the anatomy and the physiology at the same time. So it just puts everything together, and it has some little like windows and with like little pages where they speak about like diseases and stuff. So it's very nice as you're going through the system to just see how, like, for example, pericarditis, why is it like, it's very useful in that sense, because you then understand that there's a pattern, like, oh, inflammation of the lining of the heart, it can happen in the lungs, it can happen in the bones as well. So it was just very helpful to just rebuild that foundation, because my undergrad was medical physiology, so I should have known what was going to come. But to just rebrush everything, it was very useful. And also when you're preparing for exams, for your short best answer questions for your uni, it's perfect. Then the other one is Medical Pharmacology at a Glance. The At a Glance series has the medical pharmacology, the medical microbiology, and then it also has like, it's also divided into medical specialties such as pediatrics, general medicine. So it's very good because the way it's structured, that each page, for example, in the pharmacology one, each page is a set of is a set of medications. So you can have the antipsychotics one page, or anti-inflammatories one page. So it summarizes everything very nicely and has all the details. Like, it goes in detail, like it doesn't go too much in detail, so no pharmacodynamics, pharmacokinetics that you really don't need because we're not pharmacologists, but it actually gives the details that you need in terms of the pharmacology and the importance of the medicine, its interactions and things like that. And then there's like the general medicine one. I have it here actually. I was just gonna show you, but it's really, really nice. Oh, I'm just gonna show you. Okay, it's here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's my holy grail. Basically, it's beginning B has the communication skills part, and then I borrowed it from the hospital's library. And then it has also a section where it gives you presenting complaints. So for example, chest pain, it gives you differentials, how to go about the history taking, how to go about the examinations, and then what kind of things you want to rule out first, and what the immediate things that you will do in terms of management. And then it goes through all the different examinations, so cardiovascular examination, respiratory examination. It just cuts them down very, very nicely. So it's very good for OSCEs. And then the ending part of it is divided into systems again. And then every system has its own condition. For example, this is metabolic and endocrine disorders, and this page has thyroid disease. So it just goes through every condition. And if we go in the cardiovascular bit, let me see if I can find it. Oh no, okay, I found the nervous system one. So like here, the stroke and TIA, it gives you the investigation, the management, and also, and then the different types as well. And here there's migraine, and all of this for all the conditions. So if you know your 1As, 1B, as Hannah was talking about before, you just nicely go through them and see how. I think it's nice to just read through them, make notes, and just have it there. And then the OSCE cases with maths. Sorry,
you have your screen sharing, so we can't really see the book, but it's fine. You can carry on. It's okay.
Okay. When I finish the presentation,
yeah, just show it again.
Quick, yeah.
Cool.
And then there's the OSCE cases with math schemes, which another one, it's really nice. I've not really tried it really, but like my lecturers and then people in my course and other people as well have recommended it strongly to prepare for OSCE. So I've just bought it, so it's coming tomorrow. I'll let you know how it goes. But everybody says that it's really good. And then in terms of when going on placement, the clinical medicine one, the essential of Kumar and Clark and clinical medicine are very similar to, as it's divided into systems again, and it just gives you a snippet of management, the condition management, and how to go around the condition, what condition it is, how does it manifest, and things like that you would want to get access to very quickly when you're on placement. And then they're very small. When I come off the sharing screen, I'll show you how small the Kumar and Clark is. They're very small, so you can fit them in your bag. You can carry them around when you're on placement, and you can just read through them when you have time to spare. And then there's the mind maps for medical students, which is another nice one. Basically, every page of this book has a condition, and it divides it nicely as well. I have it in my ebook app, so I'll show you one page. So every page is a condition divided into system. So that's another one to just help you go through the various conditions of the various system easily. And then the making sense of ECG, this was so useful for me because one, it's just a series of ECG strips, and then the different cases and presentations, and then it just asks you questions about like, oh, what would you do in this case? I don't know, atrial fibrillation, what's the management? So you get to answer, and then the answers at the back of the book. So this is really good when you're going through ECGs, because with ECGs you want to see as much as possible, but obviously you're not constantly in the hospital and you're not constantly making ECGs. So this is a nice book to go through ECGs and to learn how to read them properly. Then in terms of websites, these are my favorite ones. There might be other ones, maybe the other people in the other panelists might want to share the other ones that they know. But one is Geeky Medics that Mike spoke about as well. And yeah, then some parts of it that you have to subscribe to, some other that you don't. But yeah, I think in terms of OSCEs and in terms of clinical skills, if you just write on in the internet, I don't know, cardiovascular examination or headache history, Geeky Medics is one of the first things that comes up, and it has everything that you need there. Osmosis.org as well. I think there's a subscription for that as well. But on YouTube, there's a lot of the videos about like diseases, pharmacodynamics, physiology, anatomy. So their videos are really, really good on YouTube. And also there are parts of the website that you can access to without having to pay. Radiopedia is another one that I use for the X-rays, so just learn how to read X-rays especially, and that's nice for exercitations as well, and just to get into the habit of knowing what to look for, what you're looking at, the structure of when you go around an X-ray and you read an X-ray. So that's really nice, and it gives you scenarios as well. And then Past Medicine, there's another one that's more for when you're revising, so short best answer questions kind of thing, and then what your progress is, just to time yourself, just to see what progress you're doing, just to see what you're doing better and when you're not doing so well. So yeah. And then the NICE website, which your university would recommend at the beginning anyway, and that's the NICE, and it's just a set of guidelines on how currently within the NHS to go around diseases and giving medications and stuff like that. With the NICE, there's also the BNF that Mike spoke about. Then the Noted Anatomist is a YouTube channel. Oh my God, it saved my life. Like, I think I passed my short best answer questions of anatomy because of this guy. He's so good. He has like 8 minutes, 9 minutes, highest 15 minutes videos, but it goes through things so nicely. And then if you go on his YouTube channel, it's just divided into like systems, and it has everything. Like, he has everything you need, and it just gives you the details. Because I think the difficulty is just understanding how much in depth you need to go through things. One, ask your lecturers. Two, just know that you don't need to know the tiny little minutiae about, I don't know, the cardiovascular system or the anatomy of the cardiovascular system. You just need to know the important things to be able to recognize diseases and conditions. And then Anatomy TV is another one. It's just more for visualization of what you're looking at, the heart, the lungs, just to see what everything is at. Because anatomy is a module that if you've not done it before, you might find it very difficult, because it's like another word altogether, a new language, new terminology and everything. So I think it's nice to ease you into that anatomy reality. Then last, apps. So these are the 5 apps that I mostly use. So they're InSimo actually. Stefania recommended it to me the other day, and I was like, oh my God, how didn't I know about this? It's so good. It's like playing. And yeah, just download this. You just have a patient and the scenario, and then you just have to work around what you want to know. So what aspects of the history you want, what investigation you want, you want to order X-rays, you want bloods, what blood. It's really, really good, because you get to learn so much by just playing and being on your phone. So you can just be on your bed and just play. Capsule is the one that my uni recommended, and it's very similar to the InSimo. It's not as fun, but it's very, very similar. Matrix Education is the one that Sophia spoke about, and she's the founder of. Very good, because I think it was so important for me, because whenever you go on internet, you just see so many resources for medical students, they're like, okay, where can I find things for me, for VA students? And to find out that there was this app that is just organized with like in 1A, 1B's conditions, like according to the matrix. It was so good, because even when I'm revising and I'm like, okay, is this 1A, 1B, I just go on the app and I just see it there. BMJ Best Practice, this is another one that you might want to download for your placement. Just today I was on my GP placement, and I think I was looking for melasma, and I just tap it on the app, and it just gives you everything: differential, presentation, management. And the same thing with BNF, but BNF is more of a, like, BNF it's with the medicine, so it's more pharmacology bit. So I think, yeah, that is it from me. And if you want the presentation, I'm just gonna try to post it on my page on Instagram, Life of a PA, or if you need it, just email me, and the email is here. And let me see if I can get out of the sharing thing. Okay, yeah. So the general thingy book, the general medicine book is this one. It's so good. Like, yeah, as I was saying before, there's presentation. So this one is shortness of breath. It gives you the differentials. It gives you have to go about the examination. It's really good. And then at the end, it's just divided into systems. So, for example, as I was saying before, the nervous system, it just gives you all the conditions. Oh, there's the sun. All the conditions for the nervous system. So that's very good. Another thing I found, it was a PA in my GP that recommended it to me. It's called Medicine by Alasdair Scott. If you just Google it on Google, it will just come out as a PDF, and basically it's like 200 pages. So if you want to print it, you can print it. If you want to keep it on your iPad or laptop, it's there. But every page has a condition and management and everything. And especially when you go on GP on placement, it's nice to just have there and just go through it. And I think I have the last one. I should have added it on my list. But this is a short best answer questions, EMCQ, SAQs book. It's called Medicine. And I borrowed it from the hospital's library because we don't like to spend too much money. But what is very good, I use it to revise for my exams. And yeah, as you can see, it just has questions, short best answer questions, just in the style of all the exams that you're going to take anyway. And yeah, I think that's all from me. Thank you. And if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Sandra. She posted her handles, but again, you'll find them all on the PA Speech Instagram page. The next speaker is Amreen, who will be talking about how to structure your notes. I just want to make a little note to all the guest speakers. If we try and hurry up a bit, because I feel like people have other commitments and we're taking quite a lot of time. But yeah, thank you so much, Sandra. And Amreen, over to you.
So hi everyone, I've got a quick presentation which I've got on my Instagram page as well. So I'll give you a quick recap. So my background is Bachelor in Neuroscience and Psychology, and then I did a PhD in Biochem, and now I'm doing the Master, and I've got my uni finals in November. I'll get straight to it because I agree with Stefania, it's getting too late. So let me share my screen. Let me know if you guys can see this. Hang on, let me go back. All right, can you guys all see this? Thumbs up? Okay, perfect. So when I first started, I walked into my PA course not knowing what matrix was, not knowing how many conditions we have to deal with, and definitely not knowing how I can structure this. So I spent the first 6 months trying to figure out a way for myself. And I figured this method out, and I think I've been sharing this with pretty much anybody who DMs and follows me, and I'll go through it with you guys. So first thing first is that there's about 600 conditions divided into 1A, 1B, 2A, and 2B. So your main focus needs to be on 1A and 1B, like Hannah said, but do look over the 2A and 2B using the matrix on the Faculty of Physician Associates. The structure needs to follow definition, epidemiology, pathology, causes and risk factors, signs and symptoms, investigation, management, treatment, complication, and prognosis. Now, you got to put this all in one page, and that's what I did. So this is a condition template that you can get your hands on. So DM me, follow and DM me, and ask for the copy of this. So what I did, I put all of it in one page. So you're gonna have about 600 conditions to look at. You don't want to be going through like booklets and booklets of it, because when you've got your nationals, your exams coming, you need something that likes to be quick on your mind. You can go, all right, what was the quick treatment? So what I've done is I've also written down how to concise your revision, because that's the key thing. What you will find is that most of the condition will have a lot of similarity, and you'll be like, pretty much all the cardiology will have chest pain. So you're going to differentiate which condition refers to which type of chest pain. So you got to look for the key differences. And that's what I'm also doing on my Instagram pages, is that I try to group all these conditions and I try to focus on key differences, because if you remember the key differences, the condition will come to you straight away. So don't try and remember all the symptoms, trying to look out for the key differences. Okay, so the next is once you've made your condition template, you gotta test yourself. So these are the common SBA questions that will come up. For instance, what is the common cause? What is the common risk factor? What are the key signs and symptoms? What is the initial gold standard investigation? Now, this is a tricky one because that changes according to NICE guidelines. So always look at NICE guideline. And also when you go into your GP placement or secondary care, definitely ask your GP and your doctors what is the first line for that specific area. But for your exams, focus on what the NICE guideline says. And then what is the first line treatment and what's the best management? I find these are the typical questions that you find in the single best answers. And then I'll go back, sorry. So these are my resources that I used to get to my structure and get all the information, extract the information. Next part is that knowing what's coming up in your OSCEs. So 40% is consultation, 30% examination, 20% is procedural, and 10% is emergency. And again, on the bottom, I've done all the resources that I use that I find personally that were useful for me. And once you get to the second stage and you didn't follow the approach 1, and if you know somebody who's in last year of their physician associate, you don't have time to do the first approach, to go through, to make all these condition templates. You gotta be on your board and you gotta stick to concise revision, which is geeky meds, past medicines, and basically there's no shortcut. So this is perfect. Today is your first day. Start today. Start with your condition template. Start making notes. Starting with the revision. Don't delay it. You don't want to be spending 6 months figuring out your way of how to learn this, because you won't have time. You've got 2 years and you got to be on top of that. And this is my Instagram page, at Dr._physician associate. So again, follow NDM, and then afterwards, please do give the condition template a shout out so it can reach out to pretty much all the physician associates in their first year or second year, because I remember how horrible and terrible it was not knowing how to structure. So let's help each other out and let's spread these condition template. All right, so I'll leave, I'll stop sharing. Okay, does anybody have any questions? If you do, if I don't see them on the message, DM me and then I'll answer them. So that was my quick PowerPoint. Thank you everyone, and good luck with your course.
Thank you so much. I am going to introduce Stephen next. Stephen is actually a friend of mine. We go to the same university. I had to drag him into this, but I'm happy that he's doing this. Please show him all the love and support while he speaks through placement and dress code.
Hello, everybody. My name is Stephen. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, we can.
Good, lovely. My name is Stephen. I'm a second year PS student. As Stefania said, we go to the same uni, and I'll be talking sort of all things placement and sort of giving you some quick tips to make the most out of your placement. So just to touch on a few things, I'm going to be talking mainly about primary care placement, because that's what I know, and that's what really you guys are going to be sort of dealing with in your first year mainly. I don't know how universities work, but majority of them sort of is primary care. Just the first thing, and I'm just sort of talking from experience and things I would have known. Firstly, just to put sort of some kind of shock absorber, bear in mind the cost of travel to placement. This is something that obviously I didn't really think much about until and I felt like it was just sprung on me, and I was like, oh, I have to think of that. Because it might be a thing of you might have to travel sort of an hour or so to your placement. So just bear that in mind. Just have that at the back of your head. It would be nice if you're closer to home, but just bear it in mind that you could be farther away as well. And also another thing, you're all not going to get the same experience, as in it's not going to be the same for all of you. First, because you're going to different sort of GP placements, you're going to be dealing with different sort of demographic of sort of populations that your GP are placed in. And sort of every GP is different. So just bear that in mind as well. And then in terms of dress code, please dress smart. I think that's just, that's just normal. Everyone I guess knows that. Smart but comfortable. Don't forget you are a professional, and sort of things like below the elbows, no nail varnish, and I'm sure your universities will sort of brief you on all of those things. And also it's just a little touch to it that dress what you would like to see if you were the patient going in to see that practitioner. Smart and and comfortable essentially. Another thing I would like to say, first day of your placement day, please arrive on time. It's just embarrassing to arrive late. It's those first impressions. And when you arrive, sort of another thing of arriving sort of in time, even if it's sort of like half an hour or 15 minutes, GP practices, sort of they're busy, and if you don't arrive, so if you try and arrive on the time, sort of if GP starts at 8 and you arrive at 8, you're not going to get that opportunity to sort of be introduced to the team. Obviously the team will know that, sort of will be expecting you. But when you arrive on time, sort of it gives that opportunity for your supervisor to take you around, introduce you, you keep those smiles, you've already built that rapport with all the people, in the practice, because down the line, you're going to find those people in the corridors, or you're going to have to ask those people, oh, can I sit in your clinic? Or can you activate my smart card? Can you activate my login and things like that? So you won't have built sort of that sort of rapport with them from day one. But if you arrive late, it might be a bit sort of disorganized, and sometimes a lot of the GPs are really good. So they have sort of got an induction, they've got to show you fire exit and all these kind of things. And also ask them, sometimes the GPs won't think of it, like to introduce you to the team. Some GP practices are massive, they're sort of like exaggeration. They're like community hospitals. You've got physios, you've got too much going on. But if they introduce you to sort of more people, you've already sort of done that and got it out of the way. So another thing, maybe I would like you to go in your placements with at least an idea of what you want to achieve, because on your first day, your GP, usually they will ask you, what do you think you're going to achieve from this placement? So have maybe like a vague idea of what you want to achieve. And also it shows that you're serious. It shows that you've sort of thought about this day, you've thought about sort of this prior to sort of coming. And also if you've thought about what you want to achieve from it, you can sort of set yourself goals of when to achieve things. And I think someone already mentioned it, but practice your OSCEs in GPs. When you're in placement, you're going to see loads of shortcuts, but don't forget, you're seeing these shortcuts, but these people have got 30 years, 20 years behind them, so they exactly know what they're doing. So please do the full examination. It just gives you an opportunity as well. And also, by you not doing shortcut, it kind of impresses them. Actually, it makes them say, they know what they're doing, And whereas if you try and do shortcuts, it might be a thing of, does he know what he's doing or what they're doing? And also, you're a student. That's what they're expecting. So they're not expecting you to sort of do shortcuts anyway. And also, you're going to have paperwork in GP. Mini-Kex, DOPs, CBDs, timesheets, please, 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 please be on top of this. I cannot stress this enough, because you're going to come at the end of the module when all of these things are due to be in, and you've got SBAs, you've got OSCEs, you've got assignments, and then your lecturers are saying, oh, you have to come in and do your mini cakes are not up to date, your timesheet is not up to date, you're running around. So please just keep on top of it. It's so helpful. And also use every opportunity when you're in practice, mainly in GP, to learn. This could be, and also it's not a thing of you're going to only be sitting in with the doctors. You know, there is the practice nurses, there is sort of specialist nurses in there, there is sort of the HCA, all of these people that have been doing this job for a long time. And, you know, you can learn a thing or two, even if it's a thing of, oh, I've done cannulation before, I've done venipuncture before, I've done ECGs before. Just if the opportunity is there, take it, because you might think you've learned it, but that person might have an opportunity for you to learn something new on top of what you already know. But otherwise, just make it an enjoyable experience. Just remember you're there to learn. Nobody's expecting you to know everything. And also trust the process. That's, I think, very important. You know, on your first day, they're not going to expect you to listen to a heart and listen to a mama, or take the perfect manual blood pressure or anything like that. Just trust the process and just make it an enjoyable, you know, experience. And my GP days were sort of a runaway day from uni, because sometimes the uni was too much. And when I was in GP, it was a thing of, oh gosh, I can sort of run away from all the stress of uni and, you know, have a little bit of a breather, but then at the same time still using that opportunity to sort of learn. But yeah, I think that's all, you know, from my end. Again, if you have any other questions, ask your course directors, ask your lecturers. You know, they know what's sort of specific to your program. But again, go there to learn, use every opportunity, never turn down a learning opportunity. You know, it's all there, you know, you're just all there, like you're there like a sponge to just absorb everything. But once again, congratulations to you all, and I hope you enjoy your first year. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Stephen. Guys, we only have 4 more guest speakers. We're nearly there. And next to speak, it is my lovely Miriam. She'll be touching on having supportive people in the PA course. So Miriam, if you want to take the lead, thank you. And she will also be touching a bit on mental health, which is very, very important. I hope, Miriam, are you connected?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys see the screen?
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. Okay. So hi everyone, I'm Miriam. I'm now a second year student, and I'm at Hertfordshire. And first things first, in terms of supportive people, obviously family come first. You need to explain to them how important these next 2 years will be for you, and also how this will help your future, basically, and they will then understand and be able to support you in the best way they can. The friends in your class, I mean, you're all in this together. You will all be starting together at the same time, and it's going to be the same. Their feelings are probably going to be the same as how you're feeling. Excited. Some of you may have already started today, or some might be starting tomorrow, or some whenever, but yeah, you're all in this together. Just try and stick together, and, you know, try and be friends with everybody, because you're going to be getting, like Rochelle said, I think, and Stefania said in the beginning, we all sort of come from different backgrounds. We don't know where we may learn and benefit from each other. For example, some people might be good at, with ECGs already, and you may have no idea how to read them. Someone said about performing examinations. We've got all sorts of people in our classes. We've got nurses sometimes as well, who have started the physician associate program. So yeah, you never know who you're going to benefit from, and just stick together. Also, you will be practicing, they will be your buddies to practice your OSCEs and your MCQs with. For example, in my class, I have a few people that we always went through like MCQs regularly and single best answer questions, because you just never know what someone else might be thinking, and then you're like, oh yeah, that might be the correct answer then, or you may read a question in a different way. So again, you need that support from them. And then it's not a competition. So never ever try to compare yourself to others or feel like someone's ahead of you, because I feel like the moment you start thinking like that, that support system is going to start falling down, and you're going to feel like everyone's sort of competing with each other. The best thing to do is support your peers, and they will support you as well. That's how I've felt anyway. Acknowledge when your stress levels are increasing and talk to your friends. I understand that a lot of people have probably experienced stress in many different ways, and I guess the best thing to do is know when you're starting to feel stressed and possibly plan in hindsight. Think about what's actually might be causing you your stress. Like, for example, if there might be an upcoming exam coming, or an essay you need to write, then you need to plan these in time, like all those good skills that you mentioned when you apply, that you're really good at timekeeping and organizing. Make sure you utilize them so that your stress levels are at a low, because the program is already as stressful as it can get. But I don't want to cause you guys more stress by talking about this, but yeah, you will be stressed, and it's best if you struggle to manage it, then you can always talk to your friends, your course cohorts, your family, and also a lot of universities have pastoral care in place. So there may be one significant teacher where you can talk to, whether it's university stress or any other stress that's or problems that's occurring, you can speak to them. You'll also usually have class reps for your program who you can ask for advice, and also your module leaders as well. So definitely utilize them. And also, I know with this COVID situation, some universities will be giving their lectures online. Now that obviously makes it very, very difficult for you guys to get to know each other. It's not going to be the same, I understand that, but you can create forums or WhatsApp groups with your colleagues, get to know each other from the first day, because that is really, really important. Even if it is online, create Zoom meetings like this, and just get to know each other. Try to make the most out of it, because these next 2 years will pass by really quickly, and you will need each other. And I think the COVID situation does make it very, very difficult, but remember, you guys are studying in a pandemic, and that's incredible. Like, sometimes it blows my mind that we're doing this. And yeah, if you guys have any further questions, you can always DM me at Physician Associate Mary. I'll just double check if there's anything else that I wanted to mention. Yeah, just try not to compare yourself to others. I feel like that's the most important thing. Don't compete with each other, stand together. And again, you're not alone. We're all in this together, and I know things will get harder with this pandemic, but we're all here for each other. And again, you can always DM us. Of course, we've got we've got time to spare to be able to reassure you guys, and also you can let your course leaders know as well. So yeah, thanks guys.
Thank you so much, Miriam. Next in line it is Brian, who is a second-year physician associate. Oh, no, sorry. He's a qualified physician associate working in secondary care, specifically in adult medicine. So Brian, if you want to take the lead for us and just share your experience working in secondary care. I know you have some commitment, so I have to. Brian, I don't know.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey. Sorry. I have to go soon, so that's why I asked to go next. But yeah, sorry if I jump in the queue, whoever was next. Anyway, yeah, my name's Brian. I'm a qualified PA. At the moment, I'm working in Yorkshire with adult medicine in a rotational post. So I do 6-month rotations in different medical specialties. So the ones I'm going to be doing are, at the moment I'm in respiratory, the next I'm doing acute medicine, and then after that I'll be doing elderly. But because of COVID, I've pretty much just been, we've got put on the junior doctor rota, so we've been on different wards completely. So I've been on diabetes and endocrine, I've been on gastroenterology, hematology as well, and I think cardiology as well. So just been kind of rotating a little bit. So for me, I decided to do a rotational post because straight out of uni, I feel like in the 2 years you do learn quite a lot. And I thought, I don't want to go to a specific speciality straight away, because then normally if you go to that speciality, you tend to stay in that area and they specialise you. But I kind of wanted to gain as much knowledge as I could before deciding what I wanted to do. And on top of that, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I decided to do a rotational post, gain a few skills, gain more knowledge, and kind of get a better idea of what I want to do, like with my future kind of thing. So I chose secondary care over GP just because, not gonna lie, GP scares me a bit, especially like straight out of uni, because I feel like with GP is quite a lot of responsibility. And even now, to be fair, like secondary care is still quite a lot of responsibility. But for me, I thought secondary care has more support, because you're always gonna have like doctors on the ward, you're always gonna have consultants you can call if you need help, registrars, other specialities if you're not sure about certain things. And for me, I think GP for me is something that I want to do towards the end of my career, I'd say, instead of towards the start. But I know a lot of peers work in GP, they go straight into GP and they quite enjoy it. But I think for me, it just wasn't, I don't think I just go GP straight away. And the beauty about GP is what Sophia was saying earlier, that the more skills you get, the more you can basically bargain for how much you want to get paid, because GP is kind of like a business. So if you can go to them and say you can do, you've got experience, let's say in pediatrics, obs and gynae, you can maybe do like a clinic every Monday for GP to do with like, to see pregnant patients, then that could basically make you more worthwhile to them. So you could basically bargain to get paid more for that kind of thing. So for me, going secondary care, I feel like I can probably get a bunch of skills, and if I go to GP, I'll be like, I can do this, I can do that, I can do that. So basically pay me, I don't know, like 80k or whatever. Might not be 80k, but that would be the dream. As well as, for me, for this job, application-wise, I think all PA jobs, applications are through, what's it called, NHS jobs. So you tend to look on NHS website for PA jobs that come out. You can put like notifications up, so you can get like emails whenever there's like jobs that come up. And to apply for the jobs, a lot of them is just kind of just saying like what uni you go to, what degrees you have, then references. I think normally you just need 2 references, and then to have like a support information bit, which is basically kind of like a personal statement. And my piece of advice for personal statements, basically use different examples to show that you've got certain skills. So they tend to have a job description and a criteria of like essential and desirable things you need to basically be offered an interview. So what I say is look at that criteria and basically use your own experiences to basically show how you match that criteria. So I'd say use different examples for every single thing that you've done basically throughout the PA course, before the PA course, and even outside the PA course. Because then that kind of shows like you have different variety and basically makes you stand out a bit more. So I applied, I think, to a couple of jobs. I got offered a couple of interviews. Got got for like 2 interviews. One of them I couldn't go to it because I was in Morocco. It was literally straight after I finished nationals and stuff, and I was basically just done with the uni life and it's time to chill. So I didn't end up going to that. Then with this one, it was just a standard interview. It just asked you kind of like why you want the job, what skills I can bring to the job, and then they asked you a couple of clinical questions, give you like scenarios, then kind of just have to basically work through the scenario and kind of give what you think is going on with the patient and stuff. So some interviews will do like an OSCE type thing, so make sure you find out exactly how they do, because if they do an OSCE type thing, that's going to be a bit more daunting. They might have to do a bit more like medical revision as well. So for me, day to day, currently I'm a respiratory, then I did like 2 months in gastro. Day to day on the ward, in the morning you come in, you do the board round with the nurses, physiotherapists, consultants or the doctors, the way they go through the patients and allocate the patients to someone to see. So the consultants will probably pick, like say, the more ill patients or the patients have not been seen or consulted in a while. And then if patients are a bit more complicated, they might give them to a registrar to see. But if a patient's more straightforward, they'll need a junior review, so that will be either a junior doctor or a physician associate to see them. So we tend to just, if it's just a junior review, we tend to just pick one or the other for a junior doctor to do or a PA to do it. So we do a ward round, go see the patient, look at their recent investigations, create like a plan for them, management plan. So whether that be for certain investigations to be done, for them to be seen by a specific speciality, or basically for them to be discharged. So you create a plan for them. Then after the ward round's done, me and the junior doctors tend to get together and write down the jobs list. And then the reason we do this, because if certain things need to be prescribed or any ionizing radiation need to be done, the junior doctors can do that. And let's say if we need to discuss if a discussion needs to be done by a different specialty, someone in cardiology, the PAs can do that. So it's kind of like makes it fair that we pick and choose jobs that we can do, and then the juniors doctors do jobs that they can do as well. And then after that, we just do the jobs, and then so that could be either, let's say, chasing bloods, ultrasounds, MRI scans, writing discharge letters, referring patients to different specialities, or if it's like procedural things that need to be done. So when I was on the gastro ward, one of the consultants was really keen in PAs, so he got me to do ascitic taps and ascitic drains. An ascitic tap is basically just getting like a small needle and putting in someone's abdomen and just trying to take a bit of fluid out. So patients with alcohol disease, they're basically, the vessels don't function properly. So then sometimes fluid leaks into like the free space in the abdomen. So sometimes you take a sample out just to test that. But then if they basically get too much fluid going in, like accumulating, so sometimes you can get up to like 10 liters of fluid, like in someone's tummy, you need to put a drain in. And in gastroenterology, they get me to do that. They've got me to do that a couple of times as well, which is pretty cool. And then some advice for nationals, I'd say for the OSCE, it's just practice. Practice, practice, practice. Other than that, there's literally nothing else you can do. You just need to like go through the OSCE stations with basically your friends or even like your family. So practice examinations on family, practice stations to friends. No one can really teach you any different. Or the only person you can hold accountable is yourself for the OSCE, so you just have to keep practicing over and over again. Because once it becomes second nature, you basically, when you're in the station, it'll just be muscle memory. You don't have to keep thinking, oh, what I'm going to do next, Because in OSCEs, the key thing is confidence. Just act like that's your patient. The examiner is basically in your consultation room. Like, it's your consultation, just think of it as that, and trust me, the confidence will just come out. And examiners tend to mark high people who are more confident. Another thing I'd probably say while you're studying as a student, everyone comes back from a different background. People know different things. So do not compare yourself to other people. If someone else knows something that you don't worry about it. You can learn another time. And don't feel pressured to work faster than you should, because some people have photographic memories, you might not. So it's like, you don't need to compare yourself to them. Just take your time and work through things at a slow, like at the pace that you feel comfortable at, because other people might seem like they know everything in the lectures, which can be intimidating, but don't let intimidate you. Because I think from what my experience, not throwing any shade or anything, the people that tend to answer a lot of questions in the lectures, they tend to have, let's say, reviewed the lecture beforehand, before they've gone in, to make themselves seem a bit more smarter. So what I'd just say, I can see like stuff nodding their head then. So what I'd just say is, just if someone knows something that you don't, just let them do their own thing. Like, don't let them intimidate you. Like, they will literally read the lecture beforehand, or they'll have the lecture up in front of them and they just basically reeling the answer out to the lecture to make themselves seem smarter, when really they're not that smart. So just take things at your own pace and don't let them intimidate you. Yeah, no shade, by the way. I'm not shading anyone on my course, if anyone on my course is watching this. Well, that was on my course anyway. But yeah, so just take your time. I think key things I'd say when revising is, I use patient info a lot, the medical version. That's the main one you need to use, because that has nice guidelines and have absolutely everything that you need. That's really good, especially when it comes to the MCQ or SBA for OSCEs. Another tip for OSCEs, if you don't know something, do not just say what you think it is. If you're not sure, just one of the key lines is just to say, oh, I'm not really sure at the moment, but I can go check it for you because I don't want to give the wrong information. Or I've not come across this before and I don't want to give you the wrong information, so I'll just go check with someone senior. Just say that if you're not sure. Because in my national OSCE, we had a station and we had data interpretation. You had to find out what to increase some of the medication for. I had no idea, and I basically just told the patient to double the medication, and I had no idea what was going on. The patient was shocked in the station, and I even was like, yeah, that double it, it's fine. Then afterwards, I started realizing that what I was doing was not the right things. I kind of just backtracked, and I ended up passing that station, probably because I did backtrack. But yeah, if you're not sure, just say you're not sure, and you'll go find out, and you won't give the wrong information. I know that was really quick, but it's because I have to go. But does anyone have any questions about anything?
Thank you, Brian. I think people are just sharing the resources that you've mentioned, so that's good. Thank you so much. I know you have other commitments, so thank you for being with us. Next to speak is Simi, who will be talking about balancing social life with PA life. Trust me, it's needed. And yes, Simi, if you want to lead.
Hey guys, can everyone hear me? Good. Let me just share my screen. Okay. Can you guys see that? I'm hoping you guys can, because I can't see in the chat if you guys can. All right, good. So I just left this here just so you guys can have my socials, just so I don't have to type it in. So my name is Simi. Online I'm known as Simi Allsmiles. I have a YouTube channel which I've been doing long before I started the PA course. So I started my YouTube channel in 2014, and I've been doing lifestyle vlogging since then, and I still do that now. But obviously I incorporate things about the PA course much more onto it as well, and as well as just my normal day-to-day life. And also you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Twitter, and basically everywhere online. So just a quick background about me. I have a degree in biomedical science. I graduated in 2015. So I kind of took a break before I started this course. One, because I was very, very against going back to school, because my undergraduate experience was just not fun at all. And I didn't enjoy my biomed degree. Funny enough saying that, I went on to work in the lab. I worked in cytology lab, and I worked there for a year. It was interesting, but I didn't really enjoy it, because when you're working in the labs, you don't have any patient contact at all. It's just very much you and the people that you're working with, and I didn't really enjoy that experience. After that, I went to work in mental health, which I worked in for 2 years, I would say. And then that's when I decided to do the PA course. So yeah, that is a bit about me. I've worked in the NHS quite a bit, and I still work in the NHS now alongside the course. So yeah, as Stefania said, I'm going to be just speaking about how to balance the PA course and your sociable personal life, just because I think it's really important. I'm sure you guys know already, you can hear by all the things that people have said, this course is very intense, and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but you will quickly realize that this is just not, we're not just saying it because it's like a buzzword or it's like the trendiest statement to say. That's literally the reality of the course. However, it's not impossible to get through it. You may bend, but you won't break. Like, it will be fine, you'll get through it. And I'm just going to share some quick tips that I have found helpful for me getting through my first year. So the first tip I would say is to tell those around you what you're doing, the people that are important to you, whether it's your family, if you're in a relationship, if you have work commitments and you still want to work. It's very important to let people around you know what you're about to start, because this is a course that's going to take up majority of your time, and you need the understanding and support of the people close to you to get you through this course, just like Miriam said in her talk as well. It's just very important to let those around you know what you're doing, because they will understand when you're not able to commit to certain things, when you're not able to go out for certain things, and also when you just need a bit more extra support. If you're having a particularly tough week or tough day, they can be a bit more understanding, because they are aware of what's going on. So that's one thing I would say to be mindful of. Tell those around you. And also, it just ensures that things don't suffer. There's a bit of an understanding. If you don't speak up, no one will know what you're going through. And if you kind of slack in certain areas, or certain areas that you have commitments in, people can be a bit more, gracious, because they know that, you're doing something that's taken up a big part of your life. So that's one thing to kind of take into consideration. Another thing I would say is to give yourself a day every week to rest, catch up, self-care day, go out with your friends, catch up with your partner, just anything you can do. You need at least one day a week, I would say, to do it. For me, it's Sundays. Sundays, I don't do any work unless it's exam season and I've got like an exam. So like a month prior, my Sundays are gone because I need to study. But typically I don't study on Sundays. I don't do anything on Sundays. It's pretty much a day for me to relax, a day for me to catch up with my family and stuff. It's a day that's dedicated to me. So I would say that you need to have that kind of day to kind of keep yourself sane, because you will find that the weeks and the months are just going by and you realize that, throughout the week you haven't even eaten properly, you haven't slept enough, and it just builds up and it does take a toll on you. So I would say, like, give yourself that one day, to kind of like just check in with yourself to make sure you're doing good, because at the end of the day, if you're running on empty, you won't be able to give your all into the course. And I mean, we're all doing this to be able to pass and practice as PA, so you want to be able to give your all. So it's very important for you to kind of check in with yourself and give yourself a break quite regularly. Another thing I would say is, when it comes to balancing uni and social life, it's all about prioritizing and being organized. It's very important. So many people have said it already, but it's super important to be organized and to prioritize your tasks, whether that's commitments you have outside of school, and also the tasks that you have to do within school. So the way my course works at my uni is that our first year is very much theory based. We have primary care placement once a week, but it's very, very much theory based. And then in my second year, it's completely placement based. We're going to be secondary care and primary care, and we're only going to uni once every 3 to 4 weeks. So it was very important for me to be organized and prioritize myself in my first year. We did a lot of CBL, some unis call it PBL, which is basically case-based or problem-based learning. And the way it worked in my uni is that every week we had to do a presentation on a particular topic that we were given. That took up a big chunk, coming up with a presentation that's detailed enough to be able to educate yourself and your peers took up a big chunk of my time in the week. And I found that when I would let it, I would let it slide till like a Friday, Saturday, I found myself having to kind of dedicate some of my, my self-care Sunday days. I'm having to kind of catch up with my presentations, but I quickly stopped that and made sure that I always completed my presentation the day that it was set. So we usually had CBLs on Monday, Monday evening I'd be in the library and I would finish my presentation, and it just makes a difference. So it's just about being organized, being on top of all the stuff that you have to do, and that's the kind of thing, those are the kind of things that will help you balance your school life with your personal life as well. Another thing that I would also say is to do things that makes your workflow easier. So when I say do things, I would say, you know, figuring out how you learn best and sticking to that kind of process and just utilizing it. It's about working smart. You can work hard if you want, but if you're working hard and it's not effective and it's not smart, it's not going to make any sense. You're going to find by the end of the year that you don't know as much as you thought you did, and you feel like you've been putting in so many hours. So it's just about doing things to make your workflow easier. I think it was Mike that was talking about active recall questions, so that's something that I'm very, very big on as well. So it's about, you know, putting things in place that can help you study effectively, meaning that you do not have to spend as much time you know, in your study sessions focusing on one thing, where if you have, I don't know, a set of active recall questions that covers, I don't know, cardiovascular system, you can kind of go through it and you find by the end of your session you have covered so much, rather than like sticking on, I don't know, hypertension and just kind of like trying to get it down and, you know, just going through the matrix and kind of going through it from scratch, basically like essentially wasting time. So yeah, I would say just do things to make your workflow easier, whether that is you know, getting your resources ready, that's your active recall questions, making sure, you know, you've got your summary notes about your matrix conditions up to date, just having things in place to ensure that when it's time for you to sit down and study, you're utilizing that time effectively, and you're, you know, you're studying, you're basically just utilizing that time the best way you can, because at the end of the day, you only have a certain amount of hours in a day. You don't want to stay up till like 1 a.m. trying to study something and then you have uni the next day for a 9 a.m. lecture. It's about, you know, being effective, being smart and managing your time well. So another tip I have is to obviously make your workflow easier and smoother. And then the last tip I would say is to just be easy with yourself. If you don't manage to do things, you know, if you don't manage to see your friends, if you don't manage to reply to your text messages, if you don't manage to kind of commit to all the things that you essentially wanted to commit to, just be easy with yourself. I think it's very easy. I know for me, within the first few months, I quickly realized that I barely had time to kind of speak to my family. I would leave very early in the morning, I would come back super late and I'm just going to bed. Some days I wouldn't even eat, which is really bad, but it's like you have to kind of be easy with yourself, and kind of give yourself room to kind of slack in certain areas that are not important. So if you can't reply to someone's message within the hour, that is fine, just do it when you can. And I feel like a lot of the time, for me especially, I'm very type A personality. I'm organized. I like to do things a certain way. I like to try and be on top of my game and on top of my ish. And sometimes like I get really bad. I feel really bad when I'm not able to do all the things that I've set out to do for a day. But I just realized that, you know, I'm doing something that is taking a lot out of me, and I have to kind of give myself some grace in terms of you know, I can't do it all. I'm not Superwoman. I can only do so much. I'll just say, you know, give yourself room to not be able to do everything that you say you want to do, but don't beat yourself up on it. As long as you're organized, like I said, you prioritize yourself, and you can kind of get back and get on top of the things that you need to do, I think you'll be fine. But yeah, those are the tips that I'll really say. I know everyone's been saying that it's really, really intense. And I know everyone's been saying that it's, you know, like this course takes a lot out of you, but I just want to encourage you guys all and let you guys know that it's not impossible. There's people that have gone before us and have been able to pass this course successfully, and they don't have two heads. So you guys could do it. It's absolutely attainable. It's just about kind of being smart, being organized, and working effectively. You just have to prioritize yourself, and also, you know, just remember that although you're doing something that's a big part of your life for the next 2 years, this is not all you do. And I think it's very important to still make sure that you're maintaining your social life. If you're in a relationship, making sure that you're maintaining that as well, because at the end of the day, when the course is done and you're working full time, these are the things that are still going to be consistent in your life, and you need to make sure that you're finding time to tend to it. But yeah, it's just all about prioritizing yourself, being organized, giving yourself room to kind of fall short in certain areas, and yeah, it's fine. You guys will be fine. You have gotten this far. It's absolutely attainable, and I hope all of us that have been speaking and that are qualified and have made it to second year are testament of this fact, that you can have a lot of things going on and it's still very much possible to pass the course. So yeah, I hope you guys feel encouraged by that. If you have any questions, you're free to DM me. I vlog my time on the course, so you guys can check that out on YouTube. It's Simi All Smiles, the same app. And yeah, hope that's helped.
Thank you so much, Simi. And yes, I think that's helped a lot of people. Next on the board is Nikki, also known as NutriFit PA, and she will be sharing our experience about working during the PA course. So yeah, Nikki, if you want to take over.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can you see me?
We can see you.
Okay, good. Right. So, okay, so I didn't prepare anything because I'm just going to talk about how I managed to study and work. But so I'll introduce myself. My name is Nikki. I'm a second year physician associate student. I go to Brighton Uni, and I started my second year about 4 weeks ago. So didn't have much of a break, but what can we do? But anyway, so I'm just going to be talking about my experience last year. Give you a little background on me. I graduated in 2015. I did a biomedical science degree in Bristol. And then after that, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, thought about doing medicine, wasn't sure. And then one of my really good friends, who's a qualified PA now, he introduced me to the PA role, and he said, you should do this. This is great for you. And I read up on it and I thought, oh my God, wow, why didn't I see this before? Anyway, so, but this was literally like maybe a year and a half ago. So I did some research, and then at the time I was working as a healthcare assistant in the cardiology lab. So I learned lots about cardiology there. And after that, I moved to work in Brighton Hospital as a doctor's assistant. So I've learned a lot there as well. But I was in a position where I couldn't stop working. So I thought about it really hard. I was just like, how am I going to financially support myself whilst doing this really intense course? And I had a chat with my family and everyone, and I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try, and if it doesn't work, then, you know, I'm sure there's other things that we can do. And so I work every single weekend. My shift is 7 to 7:30, and I'm a doctor's assistant. So I have no days off, literally. For the past year, I managed to, you know, my holiday hours gave me 2 days off a month. And I have to say that at the beginning, I thought, wow, like I had no time to myself or anything like that. But I think what's important to realize is that it'll be hard at the beginning, but you kind of, once you get yourself into a routine, you can do it. And I mean, I finished my first year whilst working and I passed. So I'm kind of like, what's the word? I'm kind of like an example that you can work basically full time and still study at the same time. It's hard, but just, you know, at the beginning I struggled because obviously all of us, we didn't know how to create our notes or anything like that. And I'm so grateful for Stefania for doing this, because it just, you know, gives so many PA students an idea of what they're going to go into in their first year. I felt like I didn't have that much help when I started my first year. We kind of got thrown in. But I feel like for you guys starting your first year, you're going to be in such a great position because you would have heard from so many amazing PA students and all of our experiences, and it'll just be, you know, you'll manage. If we managed, you will manage. But I think with my job, I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but there were a few girls in my year who also worked part-time during the weekends, and they all passed. Obviously, it depends what your job entails. For example, mine, I felt like for my job, I could learn on the job because I was in the surgery, in the gastro department, and constantly being exposed to all these medications. I asked questions and things like that. So for me, working at the weekends is kind of like extra placement, which is really lucky. But I mean, even if you don't work in a hospital environment, if you can, I would highly recommend it, work as a healthcare assistant or anything like that. But if you can't work in a hospital department, work anywhere else. I think working will increase your chances of, you know, developing those communication skills, which we will need when we start working as as qualified PAs. So I think any job that you go into, make the most of it by enhancing your communication skills. You know, it's important to challenge people if you feel like they're doing something that you don't like, or if you feel like there could be a better way of doing something. I just think if you have to work, make the most of it. And obviously give yourself some time. I decided when I did my work last year, what I would do is I would do my, So I did Monday to Friday lectures every day. And then in the evenings, I would always give myself Friday evening off where I would do nothing. And it just really helped. So every day, every week, I'd be looking forward to Friday night, which is great. And then at the weekends, I'd just come home and relax. So I'd literally study Monday to Thursday. And then I'd have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, not studying at all. I would say that nearer the time of exams, I just worked so hard. I was literally studying like 10 hours a day, 11 hours a day, but that's just personally how I work. Obviously, everyone has different working styles, which is absolutely fine. You just need to find what is good for you and what works for you. And what else was I going to say? Oh, yes. So in terms of the working, if you have to work, just think that it's only for 2 years. In the grand scheme of things, 2 years, you know, you can do it. When you graduate, no one's going to say, oh my God, look at her. She got 60%, 58%. They're just going to be like, she passed. No one really, I don't think anyone cares the exact percentage that you get, because once you become a qualified PA, that's it. You've proved to them that you can, that you know all of these conditions, that you can treat, you know, all the medications and everything. So what else is there for you to do? You don't need to prove yourself anymore, really. So if you have to work, but obviously give yourself a little bit of time, create your little routine, and I think that's all I can say. And if any of you have started today, I wish you all luck, because it's such an amazing experience. I've really loved first year. It's really tough. There's so much you have to learn, but at the end of the year, you'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe I learned all of this. And second year is amazing because it's just, I don't know, like I started my gastro placement today, and when we were going through the diseases, I was just like, oh my God, I remember this from the Matrix, and it just helps to, you know, it's like active recall, which is great. So make the most of it, definitely. If you have any questions about anything else, go on my Instagram, NutriFitPA, and let me just have a look and see if there's anything on there. I do, yes, I do 12-hour shifts, but it's, I mean, you know, I get my break and I just you know, we're quite independent, I feel, as doctor's assistants. So no one's looking up, no one's checking up on us or anything, as long as we get our job done. I can spend like an hour doing some revision, which is great, but it is a long shift. I've had a few students, well, a few colleagues in my year who had zero experience in healthcare. I mean, from what they've told me, they kind of went into placement feeling a little bit lost, but because everyone has been so helpful, and as long as you tell them, look, I've never worked in healthcare before, they're so happy to help. You just need to let them know that you've never worked in healthcare. They will be very understanding, and they will just help you with any questions that you have. You know, people struggle, but give it a few weeks and you'll be fine. It's, you know, we all have to go through it, so there isn't anyone that hasn't gone through what we're going through.
That is so true.
Yeah. Last question. Coming from a biomed, did you struggle? I don't know. I mean, I graduated in 2015, so I did no studying from 2015 to last year. So when I went in last year, and then there were girls in my year who were like 21, 22, just finished uni, and they all knew everything. I was just like, oh my God, what did I get myself into? I'm 27. And I just thought, wow. But I mean, you just pick up so many things that you learn in your biomed. It's amazing. And the more you hear these conditions, these diseases, you just remember a lot. So don't worry about the transition, because, you know, you can do it. Just make sure that you pay attention and you work hard, and really that's it. That's everything I can say.
Thank you so much, Nikki. Obviously, guys, follow her on her Instagram. She'll be answering any more questions on our Instagram page. Thank you. Last speaker of the day, guys. We're nearly there. I'm so sorry this was this long. And that is Belma. Belma is also a friend of mine, and she goes to the same university as me. We're in the same year, and she would be talking about reflecting on a personal level during the PA course and also on academic level. Sorry guys, I've just interrupted our holiday, but yeah, thank you, Belle.
Hi guys, I'm Belle. So I met Stefania at Canterbury Christchurch, and basically I'm here to help her out with her little webinar. But basically reflection, I guess, can be applied both personally and in doing your work at uni. So personally, guess reflection is knowing what you're good at, what you're bad at, how you can improve, and ways to make yourself better in anything that you do. So for me personally, I know that upon reflecting, I know that I'm really good at doing my coursework last minute. Don't do that, by the way. I wouldn't advise you that. But I know that I'm good at doing that. So when it comes to my uni work, I know that I get my better grades when I do things literally the night before. Even if you ask Stefania, she'll be asking me, oh God, have you done your essay? I'll be like, what essay? And then I'll do literally like 1,500 words in literally 5 hours. But that's because I know that I can do it. So I guess it's looking at yourself, assessing yourself and seeing what you're best at, as well as that in placement. We have our Pebble Pad as well. We have a student reflection where we can sit down with our supervisors and discuss, you know, a case study that we've seen, and we sit with them and we kind of go through what we did best in terms of that case study that we've worked with, and sometimes sitting with someone else who's seen you go through a case study is best because they can see things that you don't see. So I guess it's learning about yourself and understanding how you work, and as well as that is learning how to take constructive criticism and not take it to heart. You know, there's things that I've learned. I don't like ECGs, but Stefania's always screaming at me and telling me off, you know, you need to do it, because she's good at it. She's looked at herself and knows that she's good at ECG and cardiology. So she's my go-to, and I know that, you know, if I need help in that, I can speak to her. So yeah, I think that's all it is, you know, just knowing what you're good at, what you're bad at, how you can improve, and as well as that not being too hard on yourself. You know, it's a lot of work and it's hard to squeeze medicine in 2 years, you know, and you can do it. If we've done it, we can do it, and it's a work in process. You know, if you look at your notes from when you started to when you finished, it'll be completely different, because as time goes on, you learn how to study efficiently and effectively because you're reflecting and learning like every time you study and do your work. But yeah.
I forgot. Thank you so much, Val. Sorry for interrupting your holiday, but I think that was needed. And guys, I think that is the end of this webinar. I am a bit speechless to the participation. Like, I know most of you had to leave, but the people that hanged on up till now, man, you are the real MVP. And I am so, so grateful to you all for attending. Just last things I just wanted to show you, please follow all the guest speakers. Like, really, if you want support or you're unsure of anything, just follow them. Like, everyone here is simply amazing and they know what they're doing, they know their stuff. Again, we spoke about the Matrix app. I have got an affiliation with them, and you can use my discount code Stefania, the one in red, and basically to subscribe to their annual subscription, and it just works out to be cheaper, and it's so worth it. I have the app on my phone. It's something that I use on the go to practice my SBA questions, and it's really helped me achieve those high grades that we all aim for. But again, as Nikki said, and most of the other speakers said, you do not need to get 80, 90 to be a PA. You can simply pass and be a PA. That is what they want. They just want a safe practitioner that will be able to assess the patient, treat them, manage, and diagnose them. Literally, at the end of the day, no one asks you what university you've gone to. No one will ask you what grade did you get. So please do not bite yourself or beat yourself up if you don't get high grades. The important thing, and it's so funny, our lecturer, I should say our tutor always says this to us: please do not compare yourself. And even if you get 45, 50% or 60%, which is the pass rate, that is fine. All we need is a safe practitioner that will be able to see patients. Other than that, I just want to also encourage you to please leave a feedback on my webinar, and that will be on my website. If you go on www.paglamstefania.co.uk, scroll down to the end, and you will see a big thing written, our testimonial. Honestly, I know, like, there's been some technical difficulties. It was longer than what I expected as well, but it's my first one, so I'm bound to make mistakes and learn from them. Hopefully, I've had so many DM asking me if I would be repeating this, and it depends on my guest speakers. If they want to do this again, then we might do this prior to every cycle of joining into PA school. So most likely there'll be another one ending of December, beginning of January for the January starters. Other than that, I will be sending an email out with the PowerPoints that people shared or slides that they shared. So be expecting an email from me, also encouraging you to leave a feedback on my website, as that helps me grow. And I just want to thank you massively for this, because I never thought I could pull this off. And I don't want to get emotional, but you guys are amazing, and thank you so much. I think that's it before I cry on screen and spoil this makeup. And yeah, thank you. Is there any question, anyone that you would like me to answer? And yeah, I'd say God bless you all, Allah bless you all, and thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And yeah, that's a wrap, guys. You can all leave and enjoy your evening. And thank you.